Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. I do really enjoy some of the YouTube names that you guys have, and this one particularly makes me giggle. But this is from Vader of Music, formerly of the planet Naboo. No, it wasn't Naboo, was it? No, it wasn't. Someone from Star Wars universe is going to shout at me now because I've got that wrong. Anyway, he spent most of his time in Mustafar. I do know that bit. Anyway, in response to the Yamaha SY99 project Part 1 assessment video I did in August 2022. I can't believe it's that long ago. Anyway, Vader of Music says, how do you do the factory reset on the SY99? Also, I have a white noise that comes from all the outputs. It's quiet but audible, depending on the volume. I don't hear it on yours, so why does mine make that noise? Well, firstly, if you want to do a factory reset, there is actually a video on the channel. So if you go to the Music Tech Guy UK channel, and if I remember, I will put a link to it. But if you go to the channel and you type in SY99, you will see a few videos on the SY99, not very many, but a few, and one of those will tell you how to do factory reset, and another one will tell you how to run the SY99 diagnostic set. Anyway, so moving on to the second question, which is probably more difficult to solve in these areas. So, it could be a number of things. And that's the way I always start this off, because it could be a number of things, and that cause the audio circuits to sort of give out white noise or pink noise or whatever it happens to be. First thing I would do was start with giving the audio circuits a visual inspect and see if you can find any components that look like they've failed. And what I'm talking about is things like discoloration around the component, visible residue on the board, visible dry joints. Now, in order to do that, you may need something like that thing there, which is off camera, or I don't know whether you can see that. Where is it? That thing there. Now, I've just bought this thing. I think this is brilliant. This is my new portable magnifying glass, and I think this is absolutely brilliant. So, for those that, it's kind of green, which goes with the Ryobi battery thing that's sitting on the wall there, and you just plug a battery into it, and away you go. And it's brilliant, and it's self-sound. It's got a clamp on it as well. Anyway, that's enough of that. Put that back up here. Okay. So you might need one of those, because quite often when you start looking at circuit boards, if you want to see dry joints, you need to be quite up and close on the joints. And those that don't understand what a dry joint typically looks like is if you look at a solder where the component joins the circuit board, what you're looking for is typically cracked lines around the solder. So either the thing comes through and you've got a cracked line around it, or the solder looks like it's cracked and is lifting. And if it is a dry joint, then that's a fairly easy thing to rectify. You just need to get some of this stuff, which is flux, and you paint it on the joint, and then you just apply a hot soldering iron and you can reflow the solder. Now, sometimes you might also need to actually take the solder off and apply new solder, but quite often, well, 9 times out of 10, you can just get away with reflowing the solder and making the joint good again. The joint has basically gone that way over time. You know, it's been on the circuit board in the case of an SY99. Where are we now? It's, what's that? 30 years, give or take. Anyway, that's the first thing. Then, if it's not something obvious, then you might have to just track back through the audio circuit to find out what stage in the audio generation is the noise introduced. That might be a bit more difficult to find, but if you can find, if you track back, you might need an oscilloscope as well to do this. But if you track back and you start looking at whether there's any background there, and as soon as you start seeing background, you know that's the component that's introduced the noise. Second question on this is, can you hear it through the headphone output? Is it limited to the main outs? Is it limited to the output 2, or can you hear it on the headphones as well? Because that kind of gives you an idea of where it's coming from. Is it coming from the amplification circuit that's generating output 2, output 1, or is it's coming from the generation circuit that generates everything? So it kind of gives you a way of trying to sort of isolate is the word I'm looking for, where in the generation circuit the noise is being introduced. That's kind of what I would do anyway. You know, to be honest, these sort of questions can go either way, and you're answering them off a paper-based answer rather than actually having the equipment there in front of you to work out what's going on. So, as I say, hopefully it helps.